Hello, everybody. My name is Corey Rosen, and you are listening to the now award-winning podcast, The Story. And this, I'm with Steven Courtney, and also an award-winning musician for many awards.
How about that? That's pretty cool. Well, congratulations, dude. Best local podcast, music podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
And you've got your shiny little guy there.
My shiny award here. A huge shout out to this Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame and all the work they do
Yes.
to make this scene what it is, and every artist as well to make this scene what it is, because there is such a unique, like we said before we were talking the show. This place has got everything when
Yeah.
it comes to the music industry. Clear Audio Brothers, we
Right.
got the whole Rockledits.
Oh yeah.
We had the whole gigging thing. We
Yeah.
had the whole musical theater thing.
Oh yeah.
We got the whole 9 yards.
So diverse and just deep. The vault of talent and stories.
Absolutely.
And again, that back to you. I mean, it's this the vision you have for the story is really, it just resonates with people. And I do think that's really what makes you stand out, is you have this kind of like core message you're trying to get across to people, is each individual story and how it adds up to the collective. And you're a guy helping to spearhead that and help people here in Central PA hear about it and beyond. So fake applause.
And shout out to everyone else that won a CPMA award. Some of my friends, people on the show. I know Cody Tyler won 2 of them. That night's big winner for sure.
Have you had Bobby Gentile on yet?
I've been trying to kick his butt and nail him down to
All
his
right.
chair.
There it is,
Bobby.
Bobby, get out here and do it.
Yeah, I've been in the talks with many people of trying to get them on the show, like Hunter Root,
Right.
literally a lot of people, Addie Grace and
Yeah.
Faith Noel and
Yeah.
Alex Warner, one of the
Oh,
lead
yeah.
guitarist guys.
Oh, get Sarah Fiore.
We've been in the talks with her too.
Big Sky Quartet, great stuff. Casey Walton.
You wouldn't believe all the people I've been in talks with that just scheduling, man.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm sure that's Bobby's issue too. There's a lot going on in this world.
There's a lot always going on. So in another news with the Story podcast, we're starting up our songwriter studio, is where I'm grabbing 3 or 4 musicians, putting them here in this space, and we're gonna crank out a song within an hour, and all to be ready to go to a production house to get it produced, and we're just gonna encourage collaboration, genre mixing and matching.
Sign me up, please.
I will send you a form. You can find those forms over at CoreyRosenProductions.com. That's CORYROSEN Productions.com. And if you were just hearing about this podcast, we also do single reviews and album reviews of local artists, with other local artists, helping build the community, encourage each other, give critical, constructive feedback for each other, because we all need it in some way or another. And we just want to push each other to be the best musicians that we can be, because Central PA has got a space, and we're gonna own it.
Yeah, true. It's clearly a scene.
So
it's emerging even more than ever.
Absolutely, yeah. And moving on from that, this is Steven Courtney. If you want to figure out who he is, we have a whole other podcast episode. You can go back and find that. He's an incredible guy, children's musician, artist. Many award winning. Got 5 songs on Sesame Street.
That's right.
We
all that, yeah, it's
all
cool.
That. We ended off our last episode talking about a deal that fell through, a TV deal that fell through, and the 2000s. Let's continue off with that, and then where does the story continue from there?
Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s, the United Paramount Network TV deal that looked like it was going to be a good thing, but it ended up just not being the right thing. And so that was frustrating. You have these things in life that you feel like, okay, this is a new door opening. And then when it doesn't, you have to try to figure out why. I usually just wait for it. It'll be evident. And that's really what happened. Eventually, as the 2000s rolled around, started to reinvent the band again a little bit and get a group out playing instead of playing just solo shows, and scaled it down to a little trio. And that little group was kind of identified as Big Happy House, is what we called it. And we started playing shows and recording together. And just last few weeks, that back vault of songs hit streaming for the World Wide Web. So Big Happy House album, 2001, I think it was, and then 2002, the Imaginary Motorplane CD. And that's now again for streaming. That's the first time that's happened. So that's cool. And then that band sort of morphed into what became the Steven Courtney channel, which was a TV show on our local WGAL, our NBC affiliate here. With, part of the what network are they?
Was it LCTV 66?
No,
No, not that?
WGAL
Oh,
channel 8, the NBC Hearst Argyle is the global
I see. Yeah.
thingy. And that was the strangest thing too. I had a contract through the Ephrata School District and an organization called Character Counts. They were really wanting to instill the respect, responsibility, accountability, self-control, the character traits that were that are just vital for community
And for kids.
and for really for kids and well, all of us at the end of the day.
Oh, absolutely.
And so they approached me and asked if I had any ideas of how to sort of expand those concepts and turn them into other experiences for the school district. So we did a little cassette series called Character and Ed, and my son Taylor did the voice of Ed Lewis, and they're so great to go back and listen to now. And it was just sort of like a pre-podcast kind of a concept where it was sort of like a story, but it had the sound effects in the background, but it was all audio.
Like an audio drama.
There you go. Thank you. You're the guy who's been up all night, not me. I can't. Thanks for filling me in. You're still sharp. I appreciate that. Yeah, audio drama. And then at the same time, I pitched him another idea to do a video concept that would have songs. Some of them were performed, and some of them were more just kind of like concept video. And put that together. In the process of putting that together, Corey, my bandmate Bennett Robiga, who was in Big Happy House, and as a fellow songwriter who we've written together, and he's an incredible songwriter in his own right. And he comes over and he sees the content. He's like, "Oh, what are you working on?" I show him, and he goes, "Dude, that's your TV show you should do right there. That's the concept." Because it was like 2 minutes of this, and then little channel blur,
Right.
like the channel changes, and then all of a sudden, now it's a concert song, and then here's Detective Joe character Taylor talking about responsibility or whatever. And I was like, yeah, this could work. So I edited together a little pilot, and I had negotiated with GAL a couple times and almost had a deal to do an in-studio, sort of like a Saturday Night Live kind of a concept, but early Saturday morning. It was what the UPN thing was going to also kind of be. Same kind of concept. But then I walked in and I said, I could produce these episodes and just drop them in your lap, and it could be your local TV show. Because at the time, they also had a requirement by the Federal Broadcasting FCC or whatever it is to have a local program of some sort in their rotation.
That's cool.
So it helped. It was a win-win. They needed content, and then I had complete creative control. And again, not that I'm a freak about that kind of thing, as I always sort of say, like, I'm happy being an indie. I just like the idea that I don't have to deal with all the legalese of
it's nice to own your thing. And
who owns what and all that. I mean, someday I'm at the age now where it's like, okay, I'm ready to talk to somebody about, if we want to license some of this content or whatever. But if that doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. So I go in and show them the show. They're like, oh yeah, this could work. They're laughing at stuff, and they're bopping to the music, and it's very entertaining. It's unique. And so I leave that meeting, which is, I think this is maybe April 2000, 2001, right in there. And they're like, okay, we'll see what we can do. We'll run it up the line. So I wait and wait. 6 weeks goes by. I'm at the beach on vacation with my family, and they track me down there. And I don't think they got his cell phone in. And they give me a call. Actually, it was I had a gal working for me as my booker at the time. She calls and she's like, "You need to call them. They have something about the TV show they want to talk about." I get online. They're like, "Yep, it's going to be on Saturdays at noon It starts in like a month, and I'm like, what? A month? Ah! So just kind of like rapid fire production schedule. We just tear into it and ended up producing 13 25-minute episodes, a half an hour episode. And they aired that in rotation for 2 years in that noon slot. Tried to get some sponsorship and it just couldn't quite land the right deal. And that's kind of what sort of ended it at the end of the day. It was just like, well, it's just not the right thing at the right time. But the 2 years that we were on, it's really just a warm, heartfelt fan base. They were surprised they actually got Nielsen ratings on the show, which
Oh,
for a
wow.
local show is, they're
Weird,
kind of like,
yeah.
that's really interesting. You're getting a 6% market draw or whatever. And I'm like, oh, cool. I had no idea at the time what that meant, and that I probably should have leveraged that into some kind of negotiation, but uh, had so much fun doing it. The downside was it was, all self-funded. So
Mm.
I don't, without the sponsor, it's like that's my responsibility to make sure my helpers and everybody in the live crew, when we go out and shoot a live video with an actual production company, there's cost there. And so we did as much of it as we could, just indie and freelance, one camera, a lot of it, and then just multiple, edits, kind of film style. And they're available. You can see most of the episodes on YouTube. Just search the Steven Courtney channel.
And that gave you several accolades as well, award-winning shows.
Yeah, yeah. So those two Big Happy House albums started to get some acknowledgement through an organization that's I think now it's defunct, but at the time was called the Children's Music Web.
Mm.
And what was cool about the Children's Music Web was it was a web of like a syndicate of elementary schools and teachers and parents who all kind of weighed in on the voting of content. And so you'd submit your song in a category. The one song in particular, If the World Was Filled with Love, that's a song Bennett and I co-wrote, won, best song for older elementary age children. So like, really
That was really specialized.
a niche, yeah.
Yeah.
But within within their niche, they had to have these categories. It's,
Right,
it's
right.
children's music, so talking about a niche within a niche within a niche.
Right.
But it was just cool that that was voted on by elementary age children, uh, as well as teachers and parents. So you had that kind of collective sense of like, okay, this is resonating
Everywhere.
with all this different demographics. And then, eventually the TV show picks up the Pennsylvania Association of Broadcasters Award, which is voted on by a committee outside of the state. I think it's Virginia or West Virginia. They swap content. They go, here's our content, you judge it. Here's you send us theirs, we'll judge it. So they're kind of neutral. And the feedback we got was they like, we've never seen a local kids TV show or anything like this, and that was fun to just get that validation of like, okay, it works,
Right.
So that kind of wrapped up and came to an end. The Big Happy House season of the band playing as a trio started to shift a little bit. I played in a combination of a four-piece for a while, added Marty Shaughnessy and Steve Bridgman from a local band called the Rain Children, who are super, super popular, great group. And eventually that morphed into a little string band kind of a lineup, almost like a bluegrass band kind of a thing. That was for a Mama's Homemade Soup album and another little record called 25-Cent Songs. We also did more of a rock band record called Monkey Business as Usual, which is eclectic. It's got the folky stuff that I normally gravitate towards, but it's got a couple rockers on it. That are just the other day, one came on that was streaming in the background is at our after school care program we run at our house. And I was like, oh man, this really rocks, like, wow, that still holds up, 20 years later. And eventually concerts and the economy gets weird in the 2000s, early 2000s.
Oh yeah.
I start to see a real shift in the volume. And the other thing, Corey, that changed substantially was the No Child Left Behind initiative changed things as far as the testing year, the school testing. And, I'm not an educator in the sense that I'm in that to be able to kind of quantify exactly what all that's about. I just know that it changed the way that the school year was looked at for educators and what they had to do, try to accomplish, and when they could fit in fun, encouraging sort of extracurricular things like the school assemblies I do. So, and family fun nights, I started to see those diminish as more and more sports programs for preschoolers. Enroll your preschooler in soccer today, get them started early. And so there's that kind of competition, that little bit of a rub kind of coming into the world of just people's schedules and busyness and all that. So it was hard. This is the one thing I'd say to anybody listening that's a musician who's trying to find your way in this world is, there are things that you're not doing that are affecting what you're doing. Um,
Absolutely.
you know, and it took me a while to sort of figure out like, okay, this isn't something that I did wrong or that I wasn't doing right. It's just the opportunity is shifting and changing. So to sort of grasp and hold on to the idea that, everything changes. Just accept that.
Yeah, and move on.
Yeah, yeah.
And you gotta move with the change, because
Yeah.
if you don't, you're gonna be left behind.
There you go. That's exactly it. And so I just kind of waited it out and eventually sort of reinvented kind of what the concert year looks like. And then I started to see there's more opportunities to do some summer things that I hadn't seen before, and even started to offer the artist in residence as another alternative to have a longer stay at a school, at one particular school, and have a high impact that way. Um, and I love those programs. They're so much fun to do. I'll be doing one at Mountville Elementary School in the fall of this coming
Mm.
school year, and just already excited to see what we create together and where that goes. So the 2000s roll along. Eventually, I kind of think sequentially as albums are released. Monkey Business, Deep Sea Divers in there. All these are available for streaming now. I've got the entire catalog from the early 90s stuff. Not all of that, but most of that's on a collection called Early Favorites. And then it rolls all the way up to the most recent release of Little Sparrow and I Am a Robot. So I think there's 240 songs there to stream.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
That's a lot of songs.
I know, it is a lot. And then, let's see, the band, the Suitcase, right around 2000, end of the 2000s, 2011, I formulated for the first time what was called the Suitcase Musicians. That was how I really wanted to brand so people would know this is a kids and family band
Mm.
show. So if people see Steven Courtney Band of Friends or come and see, Steven Courtney at a local venue that's not kids and family, it's more of a pub kind of thing.
Right,
They
yeah.
know the difference. Like, oh, the Suitcase Musician, that's when he does the kids and family shows. We're doing a show at the end of April at Zoetropolis here,
As I was saying,
yeah, in Lancaster. So we'll start promoting that really soon. Great venue for a Saturday morning. Get out and
go on the couches.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
It's a great venue. If you've never been there, it's an old cinema place that they ripped out a lot of the cinema seating and put in couches and space. It's also a movie theater still.
right. Oh, yeah.
So it's an incredible spot. I've had some of the production team on there come on the show.
Right.
It's a great spot.
It really
Highly
is.
recommend.
We love playing shows there because it is so unique, and it's it's downtown Lancaster. It's easy to access.
Mhm.
There's parking garages close by, so give yourself 10 minutes extra in your schedule to make sure you get parked and walk a little bit to get into the theater. But so worth it. So that's
good
coming up.
food.
And the
Great food,
restaurant.
and you can eat inside
Yeah.
the theater too.
Yeah, exactly. It really is a great experience. So we into the 2000s, in the early 2000s, Suitcase Musicians is formed, and right around that time, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what is the Suitcase Musicians? What does that mean?
It's sort of just the idea that we're these musicians that just kind of ramble around. We're willing to pack up our suitcase and go wherever the opportunity is. I've had the Suitcase Musicians out to my hometown area in Mendon, Michigan, and Southwest Corner, Michigan, Kalamazoo area to play shows. We've been down to Richmond to play shows at festivals down there with the Diggity Dudes and great guys. We've been fortunate to travel up to Boston together a couple of times and play shows up there. And so Suitcase Music is just kind of a visual idea that we're these guys and gals that ramble around together and make music and just ready to go. you know?
And is that like a collective, like people sign on to go wherever, or is it like a
Yeah.
set list?
It's the actual lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lineup sort of fluctuates, depending on availability and who people are. It also sort of depends on what I'm doing at the time as far as what
Mm.
vault of tunes I'm kinda pulling from. So, the current lineup is, Andy Lake, he plays keyboards and piano and sings. Fred
Right.
McNaughton is in it, and he plays trumpet and ukulele and is my sidekick happy guy. He keeps the visual dance party going.
Fred's awesome.
I know it. Judy Lehman, she's a multi-instrumentalist, and they all sing. Judy plays trombone and ukulele and banjo and glockenspiel, and so
Oh,
I'm always like,
nice.
"Keep an eye on this one because he's gonna bring a lot of color to the show," you know? And her husband, Trav, has played drums for us in the past, and he's a great musician. Then, Alden Hoke, he plays, fiddle for me and keyboards and sings. Uh, and Alden's been in and out of couple of the folk rock band lineups too in the past, the regular rock and roll band, that's not doing the kids and family thing. Uh, and so, yeah, and then there's just this pool of back players, and it's interesting you asked that because of just who the players are. Um, I'm just in the process now of finishing compiling 30 years of live recordings
Mm.
that I've just collected and, recorded over the years, and it's a big mix of stuff. It's all over the map as far as, some of the I think the earliest recordings are '95, and the band then was like a seven-piece band, and
Oh, wow.
oh, it's just all out, and then, some of the shows are just a little three-piece band with acoustic guitar, mandolin, and my drummer playing a bucket, and you gotta stop yawning, Mr.
I
Cushing.
know, I know. Listen, it's been a long night. I'm trying my best.
You young guys gotta get with the industry standard. You gotta
Right, I
party all
know.
day, you party all night.
And no yawning, no tired. Go, go, go.
No, you deserve it. I didn't get to see them all, but I saw all your episodes that you posted of all the little short
the short
interviews you did last
interviews.
night. I was like, "Oh, man, this guy's going for it."
I was, yeah.
And you weren't even an award winner then, so, I
No,
mean,
I wasn't. I was
you're just being
going.
you, doing it.
Yeah. Just running around. Dude, my feet are still so sore. Anyway, back to your kids musicians.
So right around, March or April of 2011, we celebrated my 5,000th concert,
Mm,
and,
mm.
Suitcase Musicians played. We played this wonderful place, the Oregon Dairy Warehouse Theater. So it's the Oregon Dairy, grocery store,
Mhm.
and in the back, they clear out their warehouse, and they set up this little stage area where you can do shows. I've had some of my favorite shows I've ever played in my life in the back of the warehouse. 400 people, 500 people packed in back there at times.
That's incredible.
I used to do 3 shows, sometimes 4 on a weekend. I'd do, 1 or 2 on a Friday night and a couple on Saturday, And, again, just remarkable that they had the heart for that, and, we haven't been doing them, recently, so I'm not sure if they've discontinued the series or not, but
Mhm.
did that for a decade or 2. And, so we did the concert there, and there's a few recordings that are making this live collection. The live collection of, 30 years of music is, gonna be called Strumming Sunshine. And that's sort of to me, it's kinda like that's a good representation of the goal with the music. Just go out there and strum a little sunshine into the world,
Yeah.
And, it's got a big mix of stuff, though. So the band all through all the changes, is represented very well in this collection of songs. I think it's 45 songs. There's a big vault there.
Yeah, right.
Live track's gonna hit. So rolling along, 2000s, just kinda steady, and, more albums just kinda here and there, slipping out. Rolling Home, was given a nod by, a New York Times writer, putting the talk about a niche within a niche. Kids and Family Records, Americana Kids and Family Records,
Americana
yeah, yeah, we were listed in the top 10 recommended, And then right around this time, Million Smiles to Go is released, which is I re-recorded some of my early Vault stuff, and then a lot of new stuff. And A Million Smiles to Go wins Parent Choice Award.
Mm.
And then the follow-up to that was Sun Hill Market, which is a double album, 30 songs. That won Parents' Choice Award. And then 2016, I believe it was, Sunflower Road, Parents' Choice Award winner, gold, which is their highest honor. And that's just cool, to sort of see the momentum of that kind of
Right.
happen and build. And, I've put out a couple of albums since then, and well, they haven't even been nominated. Parents' Choice Award, I think, is since in a hiatus. Like
Yeah, I was
COVID.
wondering about that.
I think COVID kind of shut them down. But again, I don't know all the details of how these things come and go. But there's been a few other educator awards, those kinds of things that have come along the way. And all that to say about the award-winning thing is it's great to be acknowledged. It doesn't change what I do or what I want to do. Last night, the award ceremony is happening, and while it's happening, I'm playing a show for 100 people, out in the middle of Pennsylvania somewhere, and we had a blast, and I walked away, and it's my provision, it's my livelihood, and it was a joy. I would have loved to have been at the ceremony, to be part of that, and to be acknowledged in the children's music, children's artist category I still love it. I still love the work. I love the opportunity. And I think we've got a track from the
We do.
30-year concert celebration. Let's talk about streaming real quick.
Yeah, let's talk
I
about that.
found out I have a song called Mama's Homemade Soup, and it is my most streamed song. Now, I'm shocked by this because I don't really perform it that much anymore, and it was on a record. Mama's Homemade Soup record was very Americana, kind of rootsy. Had a couple of songs that leaned more gospel. It was almost a little bit more like an "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" kind of a vibe, a little bit country. There's a couple songs on there that aren't even really kids songs. They're more like for mom and dad. And one in particular called 18 Years, which is just about, a relationship, a husband and wife, 18 years, And this song, Mama's Homemade Soup, it gets used on videos, Instagram, and
Really?
somebody's posting the soup they just made, and it's like, I need a song for this. It's Mama Soup or soup songs. Boop! I must come up in the feed
Yeah,
because
it must so.
I think it was 16,000 people have used it. It's not that many. 1,600 people have used it, but it's been streamed in those different volumes. So, I've got almost 800,000 streams of that song. And I'm like, oh, Mama's Homemade Soup, what's that? But this next song, Working All Day, is one of the top streamed songs, and that's from the Little Sparrow record. And the Little Sparrow album is designed more for mindfulness and just calm and promoting just this chill music sort of in the background that paints the picture and tells the stories. And Corey, I take that back. It's not from Little Sparrow. It's from I Am a Robot. Yeah, it is. Both albums came out almost simultaneously. So this is from I Am a Robot, and this is the live version from the 30-year concert celebration.
And this is Working All Day.
Working all day. Suitcase musicians.
Get up, gotta go, gotta get working. Get up, gotta get working all day. Get up, gotta go, gotta get working. Get up, gotta get working all day. Clara and June, digging in the dirt. Clara and June, planting the seeds. Goldie and Pearl, shucking the corn. Goldie and Pearl, snapping the beans. Get up, gotta go, gotta get working. Get up, gotta get working all day. Get up, gotta go, gotta get working. Get up, gotta get working all day. Sunny and gray, digging in the dirt. Sunny and gray, planting the seeds. Mama and Papa, shucking the corn. Mama and Papa, snapping the beans. Come on, get up, gotta go, gotta get working. Get up, gotta get working all day. Get up, gotta go, gotta get working. Get up, gotta get working all day. Mimi and Nork, gotta feed the chickens. Mimi and Nork, stocking the stove. Work, 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 working and working. Work, 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 working all day. Come on and get up, gotta go, gotta get working. Get up, gotta get working all day. Get up, gotta go, gotta get working. Get up, gotta get. Sing it with us now. Get up, gotta go, gotta get working. Get up, gotta get working all day. Get up, gotta go, gotta get working. Get up, gotta get working all day. I said, get up, gotta get working all day.
And that was Working All Day by Steven Courtney and the Suitcase Musician.
Yeah. That's a fun song. Now, and that's another one I just guess I would have never have thought like would stream that well, but
Here we are.
there we are. I know the Kids Cookie Break plays it on their Saturday morning show. And that's the weird thing with this song. You put it at this day and age. I think the last time I was on, I told you 40,000 new songs hit the internet a day.
Mhm.
Somebody corrected me on that and was like, it's actually 100,000 new songs hit
Oh,
the
wow.
internet a day. So I'm not gonna go quote that other than to say that I don't know. There's a lot of new songs, and that anybody's finding it and streaming it is it's wonderful. And again, I do it because I love it and it serves the purpose when I go out to play live, to just bring the song. The identity that I'm a performing songwriter, and for some children, that's kind of the first time they start to link together that somebody has to sit down and
And do that.
and write it and make it and invent it, and you just started from nothing. I had children ask me, "Where do you get your songs from?" And I'm like, "Well, usually from a basic idea," and that's why I'm interested in your songwriter collaboration thing, because there's
Yeah.
all kinds of philosophies at how you go about writing a song. And to sit with somebody and kinda have that pressure cooker running, like, "We're gonna do this in an hour,"
Yeah, we gotta have one finished. Doesn't matter how good it is, we're just doing it.
You're gonna end up writing all children's songs. That's that could be great. The Stories children's album, collective of artists from around the world.
That's kind of the idea, is to create like I there's an accordion player like John Milo, and I want to bring him in with like a country singer, like maybe like Cody Tyler or Sam
Right.
Schmidt-Huber,
Yeah.
and maybe we'll get a metal or maybe even one of the Killmaine Saints in here,
Right, yeah.
and bring them together, see what happens, because something's gonna happen. It's gonna be great.
And the Saints are a great band.
Yeah. Uh, Shout out to Tommy Lanza, drummer,
Yeah.
even though he's retiring.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that. Tommy
I
Lanza.
I had some wind. I had gotten together with him and Bob Espenshade to kinda do some noodling around a couple months back, as just a three-piece, having some fun, and,
That's cool.
he was kind of, like, talking about some things on the radar. Now I don't know if he's full-blown retiring or if he's just pulling out of the
He's
Saints.
pulling under the Saints,
Yeah.
from what I know.
Yeah, right.
And the last time that he'll be performing is at their album release party at Love Drafts.
Oh,
coming
okay.
Soon. So
Oh, okay.
be sure to check that out.
Yeah, awesome.
Back to you then.
Oh, hey, still here.
We still got like 10 more years to go.
I'll sit here and talk all day about whoever, but yeah, happy to do it. We presently, I'm not creating a lot of video content right now. I'm sort of like trying to figure out if there's something there I should do again, something in that format. But I don't have a real strong drive for that. I'm working on a couple, a new album. It's kind of always in the work in the kids and family market. Having written as many songs as I have in that lane, you get to a place where you're like, okay, what's a new idea? What's a new theme? And going back and like looking at the songs, again, the most played streamed songs, I'm finding that right now there's the songs that are really resonating are more the more folk kind of indie folk sounding songs, and they're the songs with just those encouraging messages of family and friendship and kindness, just sort of like the nuts and bolts stuff of life.
Mhm.
And so I don't know if there's some like a little concept album in that community, building a community. What's a community look like? It's been done by other artists, but I've never really sat down and tried to just go for that myself, concept album wise. Or is it just another collection of songs and just kind of keep doing what you're doing? And hey, there's some new songs to check out. It's it's just an interesting time. I don't really feel like I'm transitioning or really needing to reinvent. Right now, I guess I'm more in a celebration mode. I just feel
Mm.
like really being just celebrating how fortunate I've been to sustain a livelihood over the past 32 years. And at the moment, it looks like I'll be gainfully employed for another 6 months. So I'll take that. That's about as far as I can ever really see, like,
Right, right.
what's coming. Um, and my wife Joyce and I are running a after school care program out of our home now, which is kind of new. That happened right after COVID and school started coming back. There was a need in our community uh, for after school care, and we just love it. It's ramble around. I spent more time in my backyard in the last 2 years than I have my whole life. And we have kindergarten through fourth graders with us, which is kind of my niche for writing, and we're just enjoying life and
Doing it.
doing it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, satisfied. Happy.
So now I get to ask all the questions I've been wanting to
All right,
ask.
buddy. I'll try not to go off on a rabbit trail. I'll try to stay succinct.
All right. If anybody here has questions for Steven Courtney that you would like to ask, be sure to ask him now so we can get to them later on. This was the question of the night last night for all my short interviews. What's one of your favorite songs you've ever written and why? And I know this is weird for you because you've got like maybe thousands of songs.
Last night in my concert, I was playing it, and it got to a break in the show where I was like, with this smaller group, sometimes I like to stop and go, it's time for questions and answers with Steven Courtney. And one of the first questions was, what's your favorite song you've ever written? And I'm like, oh, wow. Oh, man. That is really hard. There are songs that work best in concert.
Mm.
They're really those are favorites in that sense. But then there's also songs that somebody will listen to and be like, oh, there's a song of mine called Happy Anniversary. That's from that Rolling Home album, that Americana is a family record. New York Times recommended. And I really love that song. I love the energy of the song. I love the sort of just the wit or the whimsical kind of lyric it has. So that's called Happy Anniversary. So I'm going to pick one. I'm going to go all-time favorite. I guess Stephen the Pirate is the all-time favorite because it seems to resonate live as the all-time favorite across children's moms and dads, grandmas and grandpas. They love the story song of that, the adventure of that. So Stephen the Pirate.
Stephen the Pirate.
Arr.
Arg.
Next question.
Next question. So we talked a little bit about this beforehand. I talked about this with Fred, but how do you craft songs? What is your main method of crafting these songs?
I think I sort of mentioned it a little bit in our part one of our episode about eventually as a songwriter, I got to the place where I found out that, or at least for me, focusing on being a lyricist first was super helpful because when I was trying to write lyrics and write a song at the same time, I was using two very different
brains,
two different toolboxes completely, And so once I found out that it was like, nope, sit down, focus on, find the meter of the song, find the rhyming scheme, create a rhyming scheme, whatever it is, create a set of words that's sort of like your ingredients that you're going to go back to and go, have I implemented this idea or this phrase or whatever? And they kind of pull from that. And just like you pull together a recipe when you're making something, you start with a little bit of this and, oh, here's that phrase. And, oh, that begets this. And just kind of let it naturally flow. Don't force it. When I'm stuck, do I have another idea? I have something else I want to write. And just go for that for a while. So now it's great with the phone. I'll just speak an idea or two in, song about radios and how things have changed, whatever. And then later, 2 weeks later, I'll look through and I'm like, oh yeah, what is that? And then it's slowly just kind of build it up until it's like, yeah, okay, there it is. I have a lyric. And usually sometimes those are set for weeks, months, years.
Yeah, right.
Fred and I, when we write songs, we email back and forth.
Yeah, that's what he was telling me.
Yeah, and we just go back and forth until it. And usually I'm the one who calls it and goes, "Done. That's enough of that idea." Not that we couldn't add something else to it, but like, okay, that's enough there to write a song lyrically. And then the the music process for me is refreshing when I'm not thinking about lyric and I can just read something and go yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da 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 da. Okay. Yada da 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 yada da 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 da. You know, whatever. And then just kind of sit with it until phrase by phrase until you go, oh, that feels good. And then sometimes a little voice memo, you know,
Right.
playing
Yeah.
the piano or the guitar just to hear it. So for me, like I don't rush songs anymore. I used to kind of just, I gotta get these things done, you know. Why? There's no record label here with it, you know. You
Right.
gotta get songs done today or else. But I just felt like I had to get them done, you know. But I'm more comfortable with letting things simmer now. So my process now is lyric first. Every now and then I have a music idea, and then I've got to go back into the vault and go, do I have a lyric
That
that'll
fits
work
that.
with this? That's a little bit more rare, but that's usually my process now. And then flush it out with recording. And sometimes I might not release that song for forever until I'm really like it. That goes with this collection of songs on this album, sort of a thing.
So you've been all over the world in terms of performing, right?
Well, I've been as far away as India. And in America, I've been to the East and West Coast. I wouldn't say world. I would just say I've traveled enough to know that I like being home. I like being in about a 3-hour radius of Central PA. But anyway, let's just assume I've traveled the world. Yeah. What's the question?
The question I was going to ask is, how do you see your music resonate with different cultures?
Well, I can look at that in a couple of ways. When I did travel, had the opportunity to go to India for a residency there. I performed and again, I'm singing in English. They're Nepali, but they had enough English understanding, and I had an interpreter who would kind of explain what the song is about. And they were able to catch enough of it that they were chuckling at the right things, you know, or leaning in and shaking their heads like, yes, you know, that's the answer, you know, those kinds of things. I can speak more universally to what I've seen from, you know, Boston to Washington, Seattle, kind of a thing. And the songs have the same effect. It works. You know, these things, they resonate with children, they resonate with educators, they resonate with parents. And that's all the validation I need right there.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's great. And even culturally into different, you know, areas and different demographics of people groups. The energy of it, the joy it brings. I've been really focusing on when I'm with smaller groups now, talking about how the music and the joy of it can give you energy, and you feel that energy. And even to have children at the end of a song be like, "Oh, I still feel the energy." Corey, for me, that kind of thing is just like, yeah,
Yeah, no,
I feel it too.
music is incredible.
Right.
I don't know if you saw my episode with Katie Damiano,
Right. Yes.
and the music therapist, and how music
She's
lights
awesome.
up the entire brain, and it just
Yeah.
gets you going, and no other thing that does.
Yeah. Yeah. She's really got a heart for people and music and the power of it. Like she gets it. Yeah. Right. Ditto.
So, what's next for you and Steven Courtney? What do you think?
You and the Steven Courtney. What's this for Steve and Courtney?
For Steve and Courtney, yeah.
We were talking about how through the years I've had children come up at the end of a show and be like, "Where's Courtney? You know, is she coming out?" And they think it's Steve and Courtney. You know, like they hear that all year long. Stephen Courtney's coming. Steven Courtney is just going to keep on keeping on. I'm getting the live collection of songs going to hit streaming soon. Working on a new. This next album's going to kind of be a mix of where I was, probably somewhere between the Little Sparrow record and probably the Sunflower Road, the Parents' Choice Gold winner, which is very handmade, very homemade kind of music, not electronic in any way. I mean, not that I don't use keyboards or those kinds of things to make the sounds, but just more hands-on, kind of just real old school in that sense, music. And you know, we'll see where it goes. Who knows, Corey? You know, you turn around the corner and Netflix might be gone.
Right. Yeah, right, honestly.
really? I mean,
It's possible.
yeah,
It is.
anymore, I just am not surprised by anything. And again, I'd have to evaluate, like, what could I bring to that if that's the case. I would like before too long, I would like to do one really good concert event with the band live, uh, and film it, and just
Mm.
to have, because I've got footage from back in the '80s, handheld video stuff, and even some video content. I had a little band with Bennett and my wife Joyce called the Agents, and we shot some actual concept videos right in the MTV era, and it looks like that. It's just hilarious. So I've got that kind of video vault of stuff through the years and different formations of the band, but to kind of come at it from, here it is decades later, here's a good representation of this vault of music. I would like to do that.
Sounds like you need to go to Mickey's Black Box.
Yeah. And we need to do a crowdfunding.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely is right. So there it is. How about you, Corey? You just going to keep on keeping on?
Well, like I said, we're starting great things over here at the Story Podcast at the Songwriter Studio. I'm working on a deal to try to get on to the local channel as well. I'm weaving my way through all the music venues. I'm going to be getting like Tellus on, the Englewood, people from there. I'm expanding my influence.
There you go. You can say that now.
I can say that now. I'm reaching into the Philly space. I'm reaching into the New York space. I'm even reaching as far as Nashville with all the people that I'm meeting. I don't want to say too much, but I'll say what's out there, things that have been recommended to me and that are possible.
Right.
Hailstorm.
Yes.
And some people from Nashville, Olivia Farrellbaugh.
Oh, wow.
Dallas Ugly. That's what they're called. Some great people in New York City that are willing to. Some people from even in California have reached out to me saying that they want to be on the show.
Wow.
That they're willing to come over here to do it.
Yeah.
So it's incredible the amount of support that I'm getting, and I'm hopefully by the end of this year I'm going to be doing a road trip around the entire southern U.S. I'm going to New Orleans, Dallas, Houston. Not in that order because you go Houston, Dallas.
Right. Are you going to hit Austin?
I probably, yeah.
Woo.
And then we're going all the way up to somewhere in Oklahoma, because why not? It's there. That's been the whole theme of this road trip. It's there. Why not?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
It's only 2 hours.
Right. Yeah.
And then we're going to go to Nashville again, hit Atlanta, and then come back. So I'm hopefully going to get some interviews along there, and that'll be really fun.
Dude, that's incredible. The Story with Corey Rosen.
It's Story on the go. That's what it is.
You need a sample of me saying that? It's The Story with Corey Rosen.
Hi, my name is Steven Courtney, and you're listening to The Story with Corey Rosen.
Hi, I'm Steven Courtney. Here we go. Hi, I'm Steven Courtney, and you're listening to The Story with Corey Rosen.
There we go. That's a soundbite right there. Let me mark that in my time.
Hi.
Hi.
Earlier, my voice was super scratchy before we started, and I was doing Elmer Fudd. The Story with Corey Rosen. We were having fun with that. He's so tired. He's just laughing at anything I do, which makes me just be even more goofy. So,
this is I'm a laugher anyway, so yeah, it's all part of the fun.
Keep laughing.
Well, yeah, that's all you can really do nowadays. Anyways, is just to laugh at things.
There it is, folks. Keep laughing. Laugh at everything.
Laugh at everything. That's
your story slogan. Laugh at everything.
Laugh at everything. That's what keeps everything serious. So what are some of the things that you wish you had known when you first started as opposed to now?
I wish I would have known that being an indie artist was a thing. And that was okay, that could be enough. I would have stressed maybe a little bit less about trying to figure out how do I do the next thing. It's the hardest thing is you always look at what other people are doing and you try to figure out how do I get to there or how do I do that or I'll have young artists come into my studio and be like, how do we get to, how do we get to the world's largest festival next
Right.
weekend? And it's
It's
like, well, are you playing any gigs in the basement of your community center now? No, we don't want to do that. We just want to go straight to Lollapalooza or
yeah.
whatever it is. And it's like, well, how much money you guys have in the bank collectively? There- we got $184. Okay, so let's talk about traveling. How you gonna? Well, we want to find somebody to take. We got to. It doesn't really work that way. You've
Mm.
got to just work hard and stay at it, and take all the little victories along the way until something to that next opportunity comes. And I've had times, Corey, where I've had a show or I'm playing for 3,000 people on Thursday night, and I turn around the next morning, I'm playing for 78 people at some other, little library or whatever. And they both are important,
They are. Yeah.
you
Every
know?
one person's important.
Exactly. And it's like and they're both wins, they're
Yeah.
both part of the stringing it together. So, if had I known a little earlier in life that it was like, okay, you're okay where you are, I might have enjoyed that those years a little bit more in that space. But for the most part, I mean, there's not a whole lot that I would really change. I mean,
Mm.
it's just that's been my story. It's like it's unique. I mean, I went back and actually listened to our part one interview, and I just kind of like, yeah, that there it is. The whole thing from you know joining a band and going to Canada and losing our visas and ending up on an Air Force base and hosting an open mic, and a dude walks in and he goes, "Go to Ocean City, Maryland," and then you go down there and then it's just like, wow, okay, that's a interesting story.
It is. Yeah.
It's unique in that sense. Nobody else I know that's really that's what their story is. So yeah, I guess the thing to say that it's okay to work at it, to be your own entity, to be the booking agent, to be all the things. It's not easy.
No, not
It's
easy.
not easy, but if somebody else is going to do it, that's part of the financial pie then that you have to divvy up. And so the more you can kind of learn to be self-contained and be comfortable in that and just be like, it's okay. I have to promote what I do. And I think I've mentioned to you before, once I found the kids and family niche for me, that was an easy sell
Mhm.
because I just believed in it, like, wholeheartedly. I felt like it was unique, I felt like it was different, I felt like I was as a writer, I had really found a voice, can write the fun, wacky songs, can also write the songs about the things of the heart and the mind that
Mm.
that matter. Um, so that's I guess in a nutshell, that's the thing I would've wished I'd have known maybe just a little sooner, like, it's alright to just be the indie guy and not stress about this
Yeah.
other level of it.
And same for me.
Mm.
It's like you mentioned, the people that want to go big or go home.
Right.
It does. That's not what the music industry is about.
Oh, no.
It, and if it is, it's like the upper echelons. They were born to
Right,
be
right.
superstars from
Yeah,
the get go.
yeah,
There was no changing that.
right,
For anybody else, it's a building
right.
process.
Well,
And
this little guy right here is a good example,
yeah.
like, well, how do you show it? So you got the top of the pyramid. Hi, everybody. This little peak right here. Not many people gonna fit up there.
No.
And even if you go down like a half an inch and draw a little line and you slam all the people that are up there fighting for that, man, it's a war and it's a lot and it's there's a lot on the line. It's a lot of pressure. You see all this down here? This is where I exist down here. There's this wide open space of opportunity and freedom.
And
And
that's where you want to be, really.
for me, Corey, that's like, once I finally found that and I was like, yeah, that's actually a win-win. That's how it's worked to sustain a livelihood all these years.
Right.
It's a little bit of the recording studio for this season and a lot of gigging. It's more the recording studio for this season and not as much gigging. Oh, it's this artist in residence opportunity here, and then the performing, and then the recording.
Mhm.
It's just there's an ebb and flow to it. The eggs in one basket thing. So it's like, diversity is good.
Yeah.
I've heard the thing, a jack of all trade is anybody can be that. It's like I'm like, not really. I if you're really good at a lot of different things, well, that could be your superpower.
Yeah.
and don't feel like you've got to just have it all this one element, one aspect of what you do.
So last question, and we'll round it out tonight. What is
Tonight,
oh my gosh. I'm losing my mind.
it does feel like a nighttime interview.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does actually.
Just, hey, it's tonight somewhere, right?
It's tonight somewhere. It's
Yeah.
always nighttime somewhere in the world.
In Hawaii right now, they're watching this. Still tonight. All right.
So where you're performing as Otropolis, what else do you got coming up?
Man, that's a great question. There is some end of the school year concerts coming up, which are just kind of one-offs here and there. And hey, anybody listening, if you have children in elementary school age, just send them towards StevenCourtney.com. Not your children, but your
But yourselves.
yourselves. Send yourself there, or your administrators, or your PTO people, or whoever it is that helps to host and sponsor school assemblies. So that's kind of coming up. The summer season is a mixed bag of events. There's no particular thing I'm seeing that's like, oh yeah, I got to really push that hard. That Zotropolis show, we're excited about that. We love playing there, and just the fun that can bring for the whole family on a Saturday morning. So staying at StevenCourtney.com. That's where the information will be.
And if you want to find out more about this podcast, you can go over to CoreyRosenProductions.com. That's CORYROSEN Productions.com. And like I said, throughout this whole entire podcast, we're doing new stuff. If you want your singles reviewed or albums reviewed, you can do that there. If you want to be a part of the songwriter studio that we're creating, you can also sign up there. And we're
Signing up now.
I'll send you a form right after this. Or you can DM me because the website's finicky. If you can't find it, just message me. I'll send you a form. We're professionals here, but
Yes,
we're not. we're all cordial. With all that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. We got a really packed week next whatever week it is. This Sunday we're having Conrad Fisher, an incredible folk artist, Christian artist. He's worked with some incredible people within the folk industry, and he's got one heck of a story, and I'm really excited to talk about. And then this coming Monday, we have Kid Rose, a rapper from the area that I'm really excited to talk to about the urban scene here.
Oh, cool.
So with all that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you guys later. Bye.